My stepmom married my dad before he died. Now she wants his estate, but she has no clue who really owns it. My dad met Vanessa at some charity golf tournament when I was 22. I was finishing up college and he'd been single for almost 5 years after my mom passed away from cancer. At first, I was happy he found someone. Vanessa was younger than him by like 15 years, but she seemed nice enough. Always smiling, asking about my classes, bringing homemade cookies when she visited. They dated for maybe 8 months before dad told me they were getting married. Something felt rushed about it, but I figured he was just excited. The wedding was small, just immediate family and a few close friends. I was dad's best man. Vanessa wore this expensive white dress and kept talking about how she finally found her forever home. That phrase stuck with me. Not forever person, forever home. 3 months after the wedding, dad started getting sick. At first, he thought it was just the flu, but it kept getting worse. Extreme fatigue, weight loss, night sweats. Finally went to the doctor and they found stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave him maybe 6 months. Vanessa played the devoted wife perfectly. She went to every appointment, held his hand, posted all these emotional updates on Facebook about their journey. But I noticed things, like how she started redecorating the house immediately, getting rid of my mom's old furniture that dad had kept. How she asked dad about his bank accounts and investment portfolios while he was too weak to really pay attention. How she made comments about the lake house and whether we really needed to keep it in the family. Dad passed away 4 months after his diagnosis. I was there holding his other hand while Vanessa sobbed dramatically into his chest. The funeral was huge. Dad was well known in our town, owned a successful construction company, served on the school board. Vanessa wore all black and cried through the entire service. A week after the funeral, Vanessa called me to the house for a family meeting. She was sitting at dad's desk in his office, which felt wrong, going through papers with her lawyer. She smiled at me and said we needed to discuss the estate. Her lawyer, this guy named Richard, started laying out how everything would be divided. The house, the lake property, dad's business, his investment accounts. Vanessa would get the majority as the surviving spouse, and I'd get a small portion as the son. I just sat there listening. Richard kept talking about spousal inheritance rights and how the law protected widows. Vanessa nodded along, occasionally dabbing her eyes with a tissue. When Richard finished, Vanessa looked at me with fake sympathy. I know this is hard, sweetie, but your dad would want me taken care of. We were married, after all. That's when I pulled out my folder. See, my dad wasn't stupid. About 2 weeks after his diagnosis, when Vanessa was out getting her nails done, dad called me to the hospital. He was weak, but his mind was sharp. He told me he'd been doing some thinking about his assets and wanted to make sure everything was protected. He'd already suspected Vanessa married him for money. Dad had changed everything into an irrevocable living trust 6 years earlier, right after mom died. I was the sole beneficiary and trustee. The house, the business, the lake property, every bank account, all of it was in the trust. Vanessa's name wasn't on anything because you can't add a spouse to an irrevocable trust without dissolving it first. Dad never dissolved it. He never added her. He had his lawyer draft a new will leaving Vanessa exactly what the law required as a surviving spouse, which in our state was basically just her personal belongings and the right to live in the house for 6 months. Everything else was already mine through the trust. I handed the trust documents to Richard, watched his face go pale as he read through them. Vanessa didn't understand at first. She kept asking what this meant, why Richard looked so serious. Richard explained that she wasn't entitled to any of the estate because technically she had no legal claim to trust assets. Vanessa's face went from confused to angry in about 2 seconds. She started yelling about how she was his wife, how she took care of him, how this wasn't fair. I stayed calm, told her she had 6 months to find a new place per the will's terms. She could keep her clothes, her jewelry, her car that dad bought her, but the house, the business, the money, all of it was mine. She threatened to sue. Richard told her she'd lose and waste money on legal fees. Vanessa tried crying, saying dad would be ashamed of me, but I knew the truth. Dad set this up specifically to protect what he and mom built together. He saw through Vanessa's act and made sure she couldn't take advantage. Vanessa moved out in 5 months, didn't even use the full 6. Heard through friends she tried dating another older guy from dad's golf club a few weeks later. I kept the house exactly as dad left it minus Vanessa's changes. Even brought back some of mom's old furniture from storage. Dad knew exactly what he was doing.